Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest something here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Well, it is an unboxing because I'm unboxing my haul from JoeFest 2023. I have currently the most awkward camera setup I have ever used because I'm not sure how else to do this. I have a tripod in front of me with the camera here and the tote containing all of the JoeFest goodness right here. So we're just going to see how this goes. This may not even work. I may have to completely redo it. Let's find out. All right. I had to go buy this tote at Walmart because of the size of one of the items. And we did a panel and a game show at JoeFest 2023. So my car was jam-packed, and the sort of main event big item that I got, there just wasn't a way to get it securely into the car. So we had to stop. After I had packed the car as best I could, we had to drive from the hotel to a Walmart to buy this very tote and some bubble wrap to secure that item. That will be the final thing that you see, but there's a really good chance you're going to sort of see or figure out what it is pretty soon into this. So, first up, we have an Eco Warriors Flint that was just kind of an impulse buy. I like the portrait on this guy. The colors are interesting. I feel like the Eco Goo stuff feature probably isn't going to work anymore, but I'll find that out. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. He was not on my get list for JoeFest, but it was just kind of a, yeah, you know what? I want to buy this guy. Because I always want to get at least one thing that's just a fun, like, I didn't plan on this, but here it is. Let's set him over here. This is the bag of goodies that got thrown in here, and I'm going to cover up the price on this because anybody watching this that's in the know knows I paid a pretty penny for this figure to go with the bug that kicked off my stuff that I didn't have when I was a kid collection, because originally when I started collecting vintage Joes, I was only going to buy the 82 to 87 stuff that I had when I was a kid. And the bug does not fit into that. But I found one. Well, it was the same year I bought a whale. And I was there with my son, and we both felt that we needed a vehicle for the whale to go up against. So, found a bug for what at the time was a good price. Did not have the pilot with it, but I didn't even know who the driver was at the time. So I was just like, no, it's cool. We'll get the vehicle. It'll be fun. We've got Cobra troops to put in it. Not a big deal. But now I've been itchy for the Secto Viper, especially because of his sweet bubble helmet. Because you guys know, this guy I'll go ahead and open up. I didn't want to open that Flint because he's got so many pieces to go flying all over the place. But the Secto Viper here, who comes with two weird pistols that I'm going to very carefully, you know what, I'm just going to leave them right in the case here. But we'll take this guy out and take a look. He's in pretty great shape, but that bubble helmet that's the main event right there. He does not match the bug at all, but it's okay because you guys know, or if you've listened to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast, you know I love a good bubble on anything, a vehicle, a helmet, whatever the case. If it's got a bubble on it, I would like to own it, especially if I already own the vehicle that goes with it. Okay, from Fresh Monkey Fiction. No, wait. Oh, gosh. No, this was Marauders, I think. Yes, this was Marauders. I got a definitely not a Jack Burton action figure. Not quite. I mean, it should be a tank top and not a white t-shirt. But let's take a look at the portrait and the decal that come with the figure that make it so definitely not Jack Burton. So there is your portrait that I don't think is like a JoeFest exclusive. I'm pretty sure This is something you can go on their website and get, but I'm not positive about that. I didn't ask because I was just like, I need a Jack Burton figure. Because one of my... See, this is where the problem's coming in. I wonder if... Oh, there we go. He's back. One of the catchphrases I most identify with is sooner or later, I rub everyone the wrong way. And if you look at Jack Burton's the water slide decal, it's the design from his tank top. Focusing is a real problem here. But with the Marauder's skull on it, rather than the lady's face, the geisha face. So it's cool. It's the price was very reasonable for it, and Big Trouble in Little China is, of course, my favorite movie of all time. And I just wanted to have this figure. I thought it would be a cool thing to have. Sometimes you just buy stuff because it's cool. Speaking of buying stuff because it's cool, I love Call Sign Longbow. They had the first carded sample of their product at JoeFest, and that is a solid card back that I just scratched up. But that's okay because it's for posterity, and because I've got another one of these coming. Great card back. Please check out the interview with Call Sign Longbow that we did as part of Audible Interlude, but also we recently, at JoeFest, we interviewed them live, and they actually talked about what it took to get a good vintage card back made. And spoiler alert, it's not as hard as some companies would make you think. So that was awesome. Also got some stickers from them, some other cool things. Okay, this will come into play later. As you can see in the bottom right corner of your screen, I bought myself a maggot. It did not include the driver, so I bought a Worms, and I didn't pay that $20 for it. I actually got a little better deal. It does not have the antenna that goes on the helmet, and I don't care. I never had a maggot or a Worms when I was a kid. I have no recollection of it even having an antenna. I mean, obviously there's a spot for something there, but my collecting rule, as I've said before, is what would mine that I had when I was a kid look like today? Like, that's the standard I want to go for. And especially since I never had this as a kid, I'm good with no antenna. So I've got the driver for that maggot that we're going to take a look at in just a minute here. Let's see, more Call Sign Longbow, and then the blueprints for something that we actually already talked about elsewhere here on the channel. You can check out Thrasher's Scavenger Hunt, where we detailed some other items that were picked up at JoeFest that were part of a special challenge that we did for Audible Interlude. But the Tiger Cat that I bought came with the blueprints. And he said, I've got the blueprints for that. And I was like, I don't even care, but I'll take them if you got them. Because I don't need the blueprints. It's cool to have them, don't get me wrong. But it's just not a necessity if I'm buying a vehicle. But it is cool that he had them. But be sure to go check out the Thrasher's Scavenger Hunt video for the rest of the JoeFest haul. Oh, and Marauders threw in a little extra weapon with that not Jack Burton figure. Okay, so that's it for the smaller items that had to be bagged. This is the cannon for the maggot. When I purchased it, there was a split right here where these two pieces did not connect. Over the course of the weekend, I worked it and worked it and worked it and got it this close together. But at the show, I saw two other maggots that had the same open in the seam right here. In some cases, bigger than this one originally was. And I realized maybe that's just a thing with this vehicle. I don't know. Like I said, I never had one. But what I did is we had some some clamps that we used for the game show. And I just put the clamp on here and just tightened it up until that thing was right there. And it was terrifying, but I did it. And now I've got the cannon all set for my maggot, which, by the way, has the radar dish. All this stuff needs cleaning, obviously. I just haven't had time to get to that yet. I'm literally unboxing all of this right now. For the first time since I got home. It's like I said in another review recently, I have been very busy the last month. I still haven't cleaned up the Terror Drone that I bought over a month ago. I just haven't had time. So there's the front part of the maggot. Never owned it. And we had a conversation on Audible Interlude recently where I became convinced the maggot is actually a superior vehicle to the Hiss tank. And I'm sticking with that. Okay, so there is the back portion of the maggot with the control or command console and the where the cannon goes. I'm not going to put the cannon back on here on video, but it just pops right into place here. And again, this stuff is all in need of cleaning. But that's okay, because to me that's part of the fun of collecting vintage Joes. So there it is. There is, I've got a maggot. It's a dirty maggot, but I've got it. I bought a watchtower. I got that from Toy Department. One of my first purchases, because I actually bought one of these from Mercari, and it came with the flag for the headquarters. It was the wrong flag. So this, you've got the little spot right here where the flag plugs in, and the watchtower and the headquarters do not have the same flag, which is completely bizarre, because Hasbro reused parts like that all the time. As a matter of fact, they reused one of the Joe flags. I'm not sure which one it is. They reused one of the Joe flags with a WWF figure. I think it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But this one has the correct flag. So look at that. Now I've got a watchtower. All the parts, all the rest of the parts are in here. Everything looks great. This one is actually in... I'll wipe it down anyway. I like to get just some baby wipes. Some cucumber-scented baby wipes. And just wipe everything down really good. And this one's pretty clean, but I'm going to give it a wipe down anyway. So there is my watchtower that I now own. I loved this thing when I was a kid. I think really just the interactivity of it, the fact that it had the ladder, the fact that it had the door on it. I always loved these little sort of mini battle station type things. I got a slugger. Now, I have had a lot of trouble finding a slugger for a reasonable price. I actually purchased this from, look at that, with the gun. Actually purchased this, and the Tiger Cat for that matter, from a place called Needless Toys, who you can meet in that JoeFest video. I've been wanting a slugger really, really badly for a while, and they're so hard to find with the gun. And I remember it having the gun. Like, it was an important thing for me, for the slugger that I bought to have the gun. And the price was definitely right, because I've seen them with the gun go for a lot more than that. I already have Thunder, the driver, so I didn't need him. The only problem with this one is one of the teeth is broken off of the support piece, the rear support piece here, that goes down to, so when the cannon fires, it doesn't just go rolling backwards. I'll probably replace this at some point, but it's fine. Oh, you know what? It's missing 2 of the teeth, which is pretty common. But the main thing is that, it's in pretty good condition. Like, it looks good. It's got some scuffs, but again, what would mine look like if I still had it? But it's got that gun, and that gun is just the key thing when you're buying a slugger now. It's a tough thing to get a hold of. So I've got a slugger, very excited. Slugger versus maggot. It's the battle of the preposterously oversized cannons, which I kind of didn't even realize till just now. Okay, so here is the biggest dum-dum purchase I made all weekend at the toy department. Now, I went in there because toy department only accepts cash. So I went there ready with my cash, knowing, and I got an asp for $30. Now, I knew it wasn't like a phenomenal price, but it includes the cannon whatever these things are called, Canon shields, whatever they are, it has those, and that is a difficult thing to get. Or not difficult, but it's just asps don't always have them. It's got everything else. Again, it needs some cleaning up, and that's fine. I don't mind that. Matter of fact, I almost prefer stuff to need a little bit of cleaning, because then you get to handle it and mess around with it, and really, it's a better experience than just, oh, I got it, let me put it on the shelf. So I paid $30 for this asp. Like I said, I knew it wasn't an amazing price, but I've been wanting an asp. There we go. Clicks up into place. I've been wanting an asp. It was right there, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this. Since I'm buying because the Watchtower was the first thing I picked up. I was like, since I'm buying that anyway, I'll go ahead and get an asp. And then walked just a few feet away. Oh, and I got... Okay, I'll go ahead and show you this as well. I'm not going to take it all out because there are a lot of little pieces. Treble bubble. Great condition with everything. Nothing broken, got all the missiles and everything. And I didn't have a childhood treble bubble. I've got a ton of 25th anniversary treble bubbles, but I do not have an original. And this one looked good. All the colors kind of matched up nicely, so I got it. Now here's where, first, not too bad. I just bumped the tripod, I think for the first time. I think we did pretty good there. So here's where me being a dum-dum comes in. Just a few feet away from that asp that I bought was this asp that was $15. So I bought another asp because I just couldn't, like, knowing that I had bought that first one and then this one being half the price, I figured, well, I guess I'm just going to have two asps, and that's fine, whatever. I will never, every time I look at those two asps on my shelf, I will remember, look around before you make the purchase. But I'll also say JoeFest the dealer room is massive. I still think there are spots that I missed, things I didn't see, so you never know. You never know if you're going to see something again. And also, if you pass something up, somebody may come right behind you and buy it. So I can't feel too bad about it, but also I do feel like a little bit of a dum-dum. But $15 for an intact asp is a great deal. Okay. Let's see here. It's time. Nope, not quite time for the main event. There are a couple more items in here. I met the amazing Samantha Newark. She could not have been more charming. We talked a little bit more about that on Audible Interlude, so go check that out. But I got her to sign. I brought this with me. I was a huge fan of the Gem cartoon when I was a kid, but times were different. So it's not like I was running around talking about Gem with my friends. But I liked Gem, almost as much as I liked the G.I. Joe cartoon. But she's got a great signature in the pink paint pen that she had ready to go. So that was cool. Great experience. And if you follow Phantom Troublemaker on Instagram, I've got pictures up of the meeting. She was just lovely. Okay. Let me see if I can get to those. Oh, what a strain. Okay. There were 2 packs of Pack Rats at, again, Needless Toys. Lots of stuff. Needless Toys, I think, was the seller of the year this year because they were super, super nice. We share part of a name. And actually, he told me there has been some confusion between us because they have been asked, like, hey, are you guys doing panels at, like, some convention? And they were like, what are you talking about? We don't do that. Which is also kind of nice to hear. The 2 packs, each pack there's another one down in there. Each pack that I bought had 2 Pack Rats in it. There was a missile launcher in each one, but I put them both in the same one here. So I've got 2 missile launchers. But I also have, if I can get to them, and I don't know if I can. Let's see here. Oh, if only I had one of those old school 80s robot claw grabber things. All right, I'm just going to nudge the tripod. Nudging the tripod. It's just going to pop back into place. We're going to have the same great image we've had. Oh, look at that. It it pretty much worked. Okay, so there are the two other pack rats, and the funny thing is, Noel, co-host of Audible Interlude, Noel will always have a nitpicky thing, and I say nitpicky, he's right. It's not that he's wrong, but he's always got a nitpicky thing like, oh, well, do they have the remotes with them? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What remotes? And he is correct. There's a little handheld control piece that came with, I guess, each of the pack rats that I had no memory of whatsoever. So I wasn't worried about it. But there was one remote included with these. It may be in with the missile launchers, but I do have one remote. But I now have all the pack rats, and they're all in pretty great shape. They're all all the joints are pretty tight. They look good, so I'm happy. I'm not worried. I mean, there's a hole in this bag. If I lost that remote, I'm happy with them. I'm very happy with as is. I'm not going to hunt those remotes down. Okay, so now it is time for the main event. First, I'm going to bring the treads out, which, again, another Knoll thing. I didn't remember this having wheels. I might hunt the wheels down, because I can't imagine on their own they'll be too pricey, but I could be wrong about that. So I took the treads off in order to move this thing. It just made it easier to deal with. So those are all in the tote separately. And there are front treads and back treads. But I saw this sitting on a table that I had walked by I don't know how many times, and didn't catch it a few times because it was kind of set to the back. And if you approached this booth from the left, this was behind stuff and you didn't see it. If you approached from the right, you saw actually behind the booth beside it, you could see this. I saw it, and I was like, I'm going to go take a look at that, because I've been wanting one of these real bad. I had it when I was a kid. I loved it. And the guy made a deal. So I got a mobile command center. And I am very excited to, and it's probably going to have to wait in line after the Terrordrome. So this is what we got into the car as carefully as we could, and it just wasn't, I was not satisfied with how safe I felt about this and where it was and the things around it. I was afraid it was going to shift and something terrible was going to happen. So like I said, we drove to the nearest Walmart and got this tote, bought a thing of bubble wrap, which who in the world has ever had to buy bubble wrap? I've never bought bubble wrap in my life, because when you buy stuff online, you get tons of bubble wrap. So why would you ever need to buy it? But when you're at a convention in a foreign land, and you don't have any bubble wrap with you, you buy it. And unfortunately, it's not very expensive. Not that it would have mattered, because you spend a pretty penny on a big giant G.I. Joe vehicle, and you're going to spend a little extra on some bubble wrap and a tote. So I am not going to attempt to pull this out of the tote from this angle. But there it is. I will probably be doing a tour of the Mobile Command Center sometime in the future. I want to get it cleaned up. But when this came out, this was my new G.I. Joe headquarters. Obviously, the flag. I had the flag when I was a kid, and I am actively searching for a flag. But this was the new headquarters, because this thing is just an awesome toy. One of the greatest toy playsets, certainly vehicle playsets of all time. So, yeah, there it is. Mobile Command Center. That is my JoeFest haul. And thanks to some good prices and a little bit of talking, I did not spend as much as I thought I was going to spend, as mind-blowing as that may seem. And I came away, the two big things on my list were the Maggot and the Slugger, and I brought them home. So I'm feeling really good about this year's JoeFest. If you have the opportunity to go in 2024, it is, I think, the last weekend of June, or the next to last, somewhere around there, somewhere around the 24th. of June 2024 in Augusta, Georgia. It's an awesome time. If you're a Joe fan, I highly recommend you check out JoeFest. And we've got a ton of JoeFest content from this year on Audible Interlude and here on the channel. So thanks for watching, you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, and yo, Joe!
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.